My flight got cancelled at T-Lax, and while waiting at the gate, I saw something impossible. My wife boarding a plane to Dubai with 3 teenagers who looked exactly like her. I froze. We've been married 15 years. The oldest called her mom and looked 17. She never imagined I'd be there.
Chapter 1. The Impossible Sight. Mitchell Callahan lived by patterns. 20 years as a structural engineer had trained him to see the world in systems, load-bearing walls, stress points, the invisible architecture that kept everything from collapsing. His marriage to Charlene had been another reliable structure. 15 years of Sunday brunches, shared Netflix queues, and her hand reaching for his in movie theaters. Solid, predictable, safe, until LAX Gate 47 shattered everything. The Denver flight had been canceled, mechanical issues, leaving Mitchell stranded for 6 hours. He'd texted Charlene that he'd be late returning from the Phoenix conference, grabbed a coffee, and settled near the international gates to work on his laptop. That's when he saw her. Charlene. His Charlene. Walking past Gate 47 with 3 teenagers. Mitchell's coffee cup paused halfway to his lips. The woman had Charlene's distinctive auburn hair, that same purposeful stride, even the small birthmark on her left forearm visible below her rolled sleeve. But it couldn't be Charlene. His wife was supposed to be in Seattle visiting her sister Marie. The teenagers moved around her with the casual intimacy of family. A girl about 17, with Charlene's sharp cheekbones. A boy around 15, lanky and dark-haired. Another girl, maybe 13, clutching a stuffed animal. Then the oldest girl said it, clear as a bell. "Mom, can I get Starbucks before we board?" The woman, Charlene, smiled and nodded. That smile. Mitchell had seen it 10,000 times. His hands went numb. The Emirates flight to Dubai was boarding. Charlene handed tickets to each teenager, laughing at something the boy said. They looked happy. They looked like a family. Mitchell stood, his chair scraping loudly. He was 50 feet away, partially blocked by a support column. Charlene never glanced his direction. She was too busy shepherding her children, toward the jetway. The oldest was 17. Mitchell did the math instantly, his engineer's brain refusing to shut down even as his world imploded. 17 years ago, he and Charlene had been married for -2 years. They'd met 16 years ago at a friend's wedding. Started dating 15.5 years ago. Married exactly 15 years ago this October. The equation didn't balance. It couldn't. But there she was, disappearing down the jetway with 3 kids who shared her DNA written across their faces. Mitchell's phone buzzed. A text from Charlene. "Miss you, honey. Marie and I are having wine and watching old movies. See you tomorrow night." A selfie attached, Charlene and a woman who must be Marie, both holding wine glasses. His wife was simultaneously boarding a plane to Dubai and having wine in Seattle. One of these realities was a lie. The jetway door closed. The Emirates A380 pushed back from the gate. Mitchell watched until it taxied out of sight, his coffee gone cold in his hand. Then he opened his laptop and started digging. Chapter 2. The Paper Trail. Mitchell didn't go home. He checked into an airport hotel and worked through the night, his engineering mind switching from structures to patterns of deception. First, the photo. Reverse image search showed it was taken at a restaurant in Portland, not Seattle. Date stamp, 3 weeks ago. Charlene had never mentioned Portland. He checked their joint credit card. No Portland charges. She'd used cash or another card. Another card. Mitchell accessed their bank accounts. For 15 years, they'd maintained joint finances. His philosophy was that marriage meant transparency. But now he noticed something he'd been too trusting to see before. Small, regular withdrawals. 500 here, 700 there. Always in cash. Always with explanations he'd never questioned. Helping Marie with her medical bills. Emergency vet visit for mom's dog. That charity I volunteer with needs supplies. Over 15 years, assuming she'd been doing this their entire marriage, it added up to roughly $180,000. Where had it gone? He called Neil Cruz, his best friend since college, and now a private investigator specializing in corporate fraud. "Mitchell? It's 3 a.m. Someone better be dead. I need you to find someone. Actually, I need you to find everyone." By dawn, Neil was in the hotel room with 2 laptops and a very serious expression. Mitchell explained what he'd seen. Neil didn't laugh, didn't suggest Mitchell was mistaken. He just started typing. "Dubai," Neil muttered. "Interesting choice. UAE doesn't have extradition treaties with most countries for certain crimes. Let's start with the basics. Does Charlene have a passport under her maiden name? Cameron. Charlene Cameron before we married. Neil's fingers flew. And here we go. Charlene Cameron has a passport. Renewed 3 years ago. Stamped for Dubai. Jesus, Mitchell. She goes there 4 times a year. Has been for the past 17 years. The hotel room tilted. Mitchell gripped the desk. There's more. Neil continued, his voice tight. She's got an Emirates frequent flyer account with platinum status. I'm pulling up social media now, using facial recognition across platforms. The laptop screen filled with images. Charlene, his Charlene, in dozens of photos. Beach vacations in Dubai. A teenage girl in a graduation gown. Birthday parties. Christmas mornings with a tree and 3 kids opening presents. A whole life. A complete, parallel existence. Who's the father? Mitchell's voice sounded distant to his own ears. Neil clicked through until he found him. Tall, distinguished, graying temples. Vincent Roberson. He's a petroleum engineer for a multinational. Based in Dubai for the past 20 years. Lives in the Jumeirah district. Expensive. Very expensive. Is she married to him? More typing. Can't confirm from here, but yeah, probably. UAE requires marriage certificates for family residency visas. These kids have been living there legally. Mitchell stood and walked to the window. Orange light crept across the tarmac. How long have you known her? Neil asked quietly. 16 years. Met her at Shane's wedding. She was a bridesmaid. I was groomsman. We clicked instantly. She told me she was from Ohio, worked in marketing, had no family except a sister. We dated, married a year later. Moved to Denver together. Where in Ohio? Cleveland. She said her parents died in a car accident when she was 20. Neil's face went grim. Mitchell, I'm not finding any death certificates for a Cameron couple from Cleveland around that time. I'm not finding any records for a Charlene Cameron from Ohio, matching her age and description before she appeared in Denver 16 years ago. The words hung in the air like smoke. She's a ghost, Mitchell said. She invented herself for me. Which means someone else knew her before. Someone helped her become Charlene Cameron. And given she has 3 teenagers. Neil pulled up a calculator. If the oldest is 17, she was probably born when your wife was, what, mid-20s? Early marriage. Then the others. 15, 13. She had them all young, with this Vincent guy in Dubai. And then she met me, Mitchell finished. And never left Dubai. She just added me to her schedule. Neil closed his laptop gently. What do you want to do? Mitchell watched a plane take off, disappearing into the golden sky. His hands were steady. His mind was clear. The shock had burned away, leaving something cold and precise. I want to know everything, he said. Every lie, every person she's lied to, every cent she's taken. I want to know who Charlene really is. And then, Mitchell turned from the window. His face was calm, but his eyes were arctic. Then I'm going to make sure she pays for all of it. Chapter 3, The Other Woman. It took Neil 48 hours to crack Charlene's real identity. Mitchell spent that time being the perfect husband. He texted Charlene sweetly, complained about conference sessions, sent her photos of Phoenix sunsets. When she returned home Sunday evening, he kissed her at the door and asked about Seattle. Marie's doing great, Charlene said, kicking off her heels. She looked tired but happy. We binged that new series you hate. How was Phoenix? Boring. Missed you. The lies tasted like ash. Later, while Charlene showered, Neil called. You sitting down? Yeah. Her real name is Charlene Roberson. She married Vincent in Dubai 23 years ago when she was 22. American expat working as a flight attendant for Emirates. That's how they met. He was flying constantly for work. They have 4 kids. Mitchell. 4. The room spun. 4. The 3 you saw, plus a 21-year-old son. Daniel. He's at university in London. I've got photos. Neil sent them. A young man with Charlene's eyes. She was pregnant when she married Vincent. Neil continued. Had Daniel 8 months after the wedding. Then kept having kids. She quit the flight attendant job after the second kid, became a full-time mother. They bought a villa. Mitchell, this is her real life. Vincent makes serious money. I'm talking top 5%. The house alone is worth $3 million USD. And me? You're the side piece, man. I'm sorry, but that's what the evidence shows. She met you during one of her trips back to the States, probably visiting family or friends. She was, what, 37 then? Kids were getting older, more independent. Maybe she was bored. Maybe she saw an opportunity for a second life. But you were never the main event. Mitchell's jaw clenched. Keep going. I tracked her patterns. She tells Vincent she's visiting her American friends and family 4 times a year, usually for 10 to 14 days. Those trips line up perfectly with her time in Denver with you. When she's traveling for her marketing job or visiting Marie in Seattle, she's actually in Dubai being a full-time mother and wife. Marketing job doesn't exist. The company she claims to work for? It's real, but she's not employed there. I called them. No record of a Charlene Callahan ever working there. The money, Mitchell said. The cash withdrawals. Probably helps maintain her American identity. Driver's license renewals, phone bills, maybe a storage unit somewhere with her American wardrobe. Could also be supporting relatives back in the States. I'm still tracking that. But here's the thing, Mitchell. She's been pulling this off for 15 years. That takes serious skill. She's never slipped, never confused which life she's in. That's not impulsive or careless. That's planned. Through the bathroom door, Mitchell heard the shower shut off. I have to go. Mitchell, wait. There's one more thing. I found court records. 24 years ago in Texas, a woman named Charlene Cameron was charged with identity fraud. Case was dropped, charges sealed. I had to call in favors to access the files. The woman in the mugshot? It's her. Your wife. What did she do? Stole someone's identity to get credit cards, ran up massive debt, disappeared before trial. That's probably when she fled to Dubai and became Charlene Roberson. Mitchell heard Charlene humming in the bathroom. Some cheerful pop song. So she's done this before. Yeah, which means she's good at it. And Mitchell? People who are good at this, they don't stop. After hanging up, Mitchell sat very still. Charlene emerged in her bathrobe, drying her hair. She smiled at him. That warm, genuine smile he'd fallen in love with. You okay, honey? You look intense. Just thinking about work, he said smoothly. Big project coming up. She kissed his cheek. My brilliant engineer. Don't work too hard. As she walked to the bedroom, Mitchell's phone buzzed. Neil had sent one final message. Found something else. We'll call tomorrow. You need to see this in person. Mitchell deleted the message and followed his wife to bed. She curled against him like she had 1,000 nights before. Her breathing slowed into sleep. Mitchell stared at the ceiling, his mind working like the engineer he was, calculating loads and stresses and the exact point where structures failed. But he wasn't planning to let this structure fail. He was planning to demolish it completely. Chapter 4. The Meeting. Neil's office was downtown, a modest space that didn't advertise his considerable skills. Mitchell arrived at 9 a.m. sharp. Neil had coffee waiting and a grim expression. Remember I said Charlene has 4 kids? Yeah, I was wrong. She has 5. Neil spread photos across the desk like a poker hand. This is Alexandra Fuentes, 24 years old. Lives in Miami. Works as a paralegal. I found her through DNA databases, one of those ancestry sites people use. Alexandra uploaded her results 3 years ago, looking for relatives. Mitchell stared at the young woman's photo. She had Charlene's auburn hair, her bone structure. Charlene had her when she was 19, Neil explained. Gave her up for adoption. Closed adoption, sealed records. But Alexandra went searching when she turned 18. She found her birth mother's name, Charlene and Cameron from Houston, Texas. Did they ever meet? No. Charlene refused all contact. Alexandra hired a PI, found out about Charlene's identity fraud charges in Texas. That's in my report too. But here's what's interesting. Alexandra also found out that Charlene had other children. She knows about Daniel, the 21-year-old. She's been trying to contact him for 2 years. Mitchell felt something cold settle in his chest. She gave up her first child, then had 4 more with Vincent? 5 more, counting Daniel. Yeah. Does Vincent know about Alexandra? Can't confirm. But there's more. Neil pulled up a document. Remember those cash withdrawals? I traced some of them. Charlene's been paying off credit card debt. Not her debt, other people's. Small amounts, different names, different banks. It took me days to find the pattern. What pattern? She's been running scams. Nothing big enough to trigger major fraud investigations, but steady. She opens credit cards using fake identities, probably identities of people who won't notice or report it immediately. Runs up a few thousand, makes minimum payments for a while, then ghosts. She's done this at least 30 times in the past 15 years. Mitchell's hands clenched. With my money? Some of it, yeah. The cash withdrawals fund the initial purchases before she stops paying. Smart. Actually, keeps her own credit clean, makes it look like random fraud by different people in different cities. She's been doing this so long, she's got it down to a science. Why? Vincent has money. Control, maybe? Or she started doing it before Vincent, and it's just habit now. Some people can't stop even when they don't need to. It's the thrill, the power. And Mitchell, Neil's voice dropped. She's good at this. Really good. If you confront her directly, she'll disappear. You'll never see her again, never get answers, and she'll just start over somewhere else. Mitchell stood and walked to the window. Downtown Denver spread below, clean lines, right angles, everything in its proper place. He'd helped design 2 of those buildings. He understood how cities worked, how systems interlocked. I'm not going to confront her, he said quietly. What's your play? Mitchell turned. His face was calm, but something sharp glinted in his eyes. I'm going to do what she does. I'm going to lie. I'm going to become someone else. And I'm going to use her own tricks against her. Neil studied him. That's dangerous. She's been doing this for years. And I'm smarter than she thinks, Mitchell interrupted. She sees me as the stable engineer. Predictable. Boring. She doesn't know what I'm capable of when someone I trusted destroys my life. What do you need from me? Everything. Her schedule, her contacts, her accounts. I need to know her life better than she does. And I need you to find someone for me. Who? Alexandra Fuentes. The daughter. I think it's time she met her half-siblings. Chapter 5. The Performance. For 2 weeks, Mitchell was the perfect husband. He came home on time, cooked dinner, asked about Charlene's day. She never suspected anything. Why would she? For 15 years, he'd been the stable one, the reliable engineer who worked hard and asked few questions. But at night, while Charlene slept, Mitchell studied. He read every email she'd ever sent from her personal account. Neil had gotten him access. He tracked her phone's location history through cloud backups. He memorized her calendar, her habits, her patterns. Charlene Roberson had another trip planned in 3 weeks. Marketing conference in Atlanta, she told Mitchell over breakfast. I'll be gone for 10 days. You work so hard, Mitchell said, squeezing her hand. Maybe when you get back, we could take a vacation. It's been too long. Her smile flickered, barely, but he saw it. That sounds nice. Let's talk about it when I get back. Of course, because in 3 weeks, she'd be in Dubai for their youngest daughter's 13th birthday. Neil had found the party planning documents in Charlene's cloud drive. After she left for her fake job, Mitchell called Alexandra Fuentes. Miss Fuentes? My name is Mitchell Callahan. I'm married to your biological mother. Silence. Then what? I discovered recently that my wife has been living a double life. She has 4 children in Dubai with another man. I know you've been trying to contact your half-brother Daniel. I think it's time the whole family met. They talked for 2 hours. Alexandra was sharp, angry, and eager for answers. By the end, she'd agreed to fly to Denver. The next call was harder. Mr. Roberson? You don't know me, but we need to talk about Charlene. Vincent's accent was slight, cultured. I'm sorry, who is this? My name is Mitchell Callahan. I'm your wife's husband. The silence stretched so long Mitchell thought the connection had dropped. That's impossible, Vincent finally said. Charlene doesn't go to Dubai 4 times a year to visit friends? She does. Except she's not visiting friends. She's coming home to you and your children. The rest of the year, she lives in Denver with me. We've been married 15 years. More silence. Then, prove it. Mitchell sent photos. Wedding pictures. Charlene laughing at their kitchen table. Vacation shots from Hawaii, Montana, Colorado. 15 years of marriage documented. 10 minutes later, his phone rang. Vincent's voice was ice. Where are you right now? Denver. Stay there. I'm flying to the States. We're going to have a conversation with my wife. Our wife, Mitchell corrected grimly. And yes, we are. The third call was to Shane Fry, the friend whose wedding had introduced Mitchell to Charlene 16 years ago. Shane, you remember setting me up with Charlene? Best wingman move I ever made. You guys are still solid, right? Actually, I need to ask you something. Before she met me, did Charlene ever mention a husband? Any other relationships? What? No, man. She said she was single, career-focused, looking for the right guy. What? Did she ever mention kids? Kids? No. She told me she didn't want children. That's why I thought you two were perfect. You've always said you didn't want kids either. Mitchell's hand tightened on the phone. Another lie. He'd told Charlene he wasn't ready for kids yet, wanted to wait a few years. She'd agreed enthusiastically. Now he understood why. She already had 4 of them. Thanks, Shane. Mitchell, what's going on? I'll explain later. I have to go. The next days were a blur of preparation. Alexandra flew in and met with Mitchell and Neil. She was thin, intense, with her birth mother's sharp intelligence. I just want answers, she said. I need to know why she gave me up, but kept the others. You might not like what you find, Mitchell warned. I haven't liked any of this for 6 years. At least now I'll know the truth. Vincent arrived 2 days later, looking exactly like his photos, distinguished, controlled, furious. He checked into a hotel and met Mitchell in the lobby bar. Show me everything, Vincent said without preamble. Mitchell laid it out. Bank statements, emails, photos, 15 years of evidence. Vincent's jaw tightened as he processed each document. The money, Vincent finally said. She told me she needed cash to help American friends in trouble. Over the years, I've given her probably $200,000. She told me she was helping her sister Marie with medical bills, Mitchell said. I gave her about the same amount. They stared at each other. 2 men who'd loved the same woman, both betrayed, both robbed. I have 3 daughters and a son, Vincent said quietly. They worship their mother. This will destroy them. I know, but they deserve the truth. And so do we. Vincent met his eyes. What's your plan? Mitchell pulled out a folder. She's coming back from Atlanta in 3 days. I'm going to tell her I need to talk about something important. She'll think it's about marriage counseling or vacation plans. Instead, you're going to be there. And Alexandra. And we're going to ask her to explain everything. And if she runs? She won't. Because I've already called the FBI. The identity fraud, the credit card scams, that's federal crime. They're very interested in speaking with Charlene Cameron. Or Charlene Roberson. Or whatever her real name is. Vincent smiled without warmth. You're not as boring as she probably thought. No, Mitchell agreed. I'm really not. Chapter 6, The Gathering Storm. Charlene returned from Atlanta on a Wednesday evening, rolling her suitcase through the door with her usual tired smile. Mitchell kissed her cheek and took her bag. How was the conference? Exhausting. You know how these things are. Too many seminars, not enough sleep. I bet. Hey, listen, I invited some people over tomorrow for dinner. Hope that's okay. She paused, just barely. Tomorrow? Honey, I'm exhausted. Can we reschedule? It's important. Just a casual thing. I thought we could have Marie visit. The mention of her fake sister made Charlene relax. Oh, that's sweet. Okay, sure. What time? 6. That night, Mitchell lay awake beside his wife, listening to her breathe. 15 years of this. Her warmth, her presence, her lies. He wondered if anything had been real. The way she laughed at his jokes. The tears she'd cried when his father died. The 1,000 small intimacies of marriage. Or was all of it performance? Lines delivered by an actress who never broke character? The next day crawled. Charlene went to her fictional marketing job. Mitchell called in sick to work and spent the day preparing with Neil, Vincent, and Alexandra. They went over the plan, the questions, the evidence. Remember, Neil cautioned, let her talk. Don't interrupt, don't accuse yet. Just let her dig her own grave. At 5 p.m., Vincent and Alexandra checked into a hotel 3 blocks away. At 5:30, 2 FBI agents, Paul May and Iris Devine, arrived at Mitchell's house and positioned themselves in the garage with recording equipment. At 5:45, Mitchell heard Charlene's car in the driveway. She came through the door looking refreshed, wearing a nice dress. I stopped and changed at the gym. Wanted to look decent for Marie. You look beautiful, Mitchell said. It wasn't a lie. She did. She always had. The doorbell rang at exactly 6 p.m. I'll get it, Mitchell said. Charlene was in the kitchen, opening a bottle of wine. Mitchell opened the door to Vincent Roberson. Hello, Vincent said, his voice carrying into the kitchen. I'm looking for my wife. The sound of breaking glass. Mitchell turned. Charlene stood frozen, wine spreading across the floor like blood. Her face had gone white, but her eyes, those sharp, calculating eyes, were already working, already planning. Vincent, she said. Just that one word. Charlene. He stepped inside. I think we need to talk. All 3 of us. I can explain. You can start, Mitchell interrupted, by explaining this. Alexandra Fuentes stepped through the door behind Vincent. Charlene swayed, gripping the counter. For the first time in 15 years, Mitchell saw her completely lose her composure. No, you don't understand. We understand perfectly, Vincent said. You've been married to both of us. You have 4 children with me. One you gave up for adoption, and you've been stealing from both of us for years. That's not. I never. Charlene's famous eloquence evaporated. She looked from face to face, and Mitchell saw the moment she realized she was trapped. Mom. Alexandra's voice cracked. Why did you give me up, but keep them? I was 19, Charlene whispered. I was a kid myself. I couldn't. But you could at 22. You had Daniel 8 months after marrying Vincent. You were only 3 years older. The math hit Charlene visibly. She'd forgotten her own timeline. Sit down, Mitchell said. We're going to have a conversation. A truthful one. Charlene's eyes darted to the door. Vincent moved to block it. Don't, Mitchell warned. FBI agents are waiting in the garage. Identity fraud, credit card scams, wire fraud across state lines. They have more than enough to arrest you right now. The only reason you're not in handcuffs yet is because I asked them to wait. I want answers first. Charlene sank into a chair, and for a moment, she looked her 45 years, tired, exposed, small. Start at the beginning, Vincent said. And this time, tell the truth. Chapter 7. The Truth. Charlene stared at her hands for a long moment. When she finally spoke, her voice was different, harder, missing its usual warmth. My real name is Charlene and Cameron. I was born in Houston. My parents were normal. Dad worked construction. Mom was a secretary. I was the youngest of 3 kids. Brothers? Sisters? Alexandra asked. 2 brothers. Both died. Jesse overdosed when I was 15. Ricky got killed in a bar fight when I was 17. My parents blamed me somehow, like I was cursed. They started drinking more, fighting more. I left home at 18. And Alexandra? Vincent pressed. Charlene's jaw tightened. I got pregnant by a boyfriend who disappeared the second I told him. I was 19, broke, living in a crappy apartment. I couldn't raise a baby, so I gave her up. I thought it was the right thing, giving her a better life. Then what? Mitchell kept his voice neutral. I wanted to start over completely. I got a job as a flight attendant trainee for Emirates. They'd hire American girls, send them to Dubai for training. It paid well, gave me a place to live. I met Vincent on a flight to Qatar. We dated, got married. I got pregnant with Daniel right away. But you didn't tell me about Alexandra, Vincent said coldly. Would you have married me if you knew? Charlene shot back. A girl from nowhere with a criminal record. Criminal record? Vincent interrupted. Charlene closed her eyes. After I gave up Alexandra, I was angry. At myself, at the world. I stole some credit card numbers, bought stuff I couldn't afford. I got caught, got charged. The case got dropped on a technicality, but it scared me straight. That's why I left Texas, went to Dubai, became someone new. You became Charlene Roberson, Alexandra said. But you kept your real name, Charlene Cameron, in your back pocket. For emergencies. In case I ever needed to disappear again. Which you did, Mitchell said. 15 years ago. You disappeared from your Dubai life and created a new one with me. Charlene looked at him, and he saw something like regret flicker across her face. You were never supposed to happen. I came back to the States to visit an old friend, Shane's sister. Actually, we'd been flight attendants together. She invited me to Shane's wedding. I met you, and you were different, kind, stable. Everything Vincent wasn't. What does that mean? Vincent demanded. You were always working, always traveling. The kids were getting older, more independent. Our marriage had become a transaction. You made money. I raised children. There was no romance left, no connection. Then I met Mitchell, and he looked at me like I was the only person in the room. He made me laugh. He listened. And I thought, maybe I could have both. Maybe I could keep my family in Dubai and have this other life, this other version of myself. So you committed bigamy, Neil said from the doorway. Mitchell had forgotten he was there, recording everything. I never legally married Mitchell. I couldn't. I was already married to Vincent. We had a ceremony, signed papers, but I made sure they weren't filed correctly. A friend helped me, someone from my flight attendant days who knew how to fudge documents. As far as the state of Colorado is concerned, Mitchell and I were just cohabiting. Mitchell felt something crack inside his chest. Not even their marriage was real. The money, Vincent said. Where did it go? I needed it for both lives. Plane tickets, clothes for each identity, storage units. Maintaining Charlene Cameron cost money. And yes, I ran some credit card scams, old habits. It was stupid, but I'd done it before and never got caught. I needed money that neither of you could trace. You stole from us, Mitchell said flatly. I borrowed from both of you to maintain what we had together. I gave you both good lives, didn't I? Vincent, our kids are healthy and happy. Mitchell, we had 15 good years. Built on lies, Mitchell said. Every word, every moment, every smile, lies. Not all of it, Charlene said, her voice breaking. Mitchell, I did love you. I do love you. Both of you. That's why I did this. I couldn't choose. I couldn't give up either life. You're a fraud, Alexandra said, standing. Her hands were shaking. You gave me up, then built this perfect life for yourself. 2 husbands, for other kids, nice houses, nice clothes. And you never once looked back, never once tried to find me. I thought about you every day, Charlene whispered. Not enough to actually do anything about it. You know what? I used to dream about meeting you. I thought maybe you'd had a good reason. Maybe you'd been forced to give me up. But you weren't. You just didn't want me. Alexandra turned to Mitchell. I'm done here. Call the FBI. Wait. Charlene stood, panic flooding her face. Please. I know I've done terrible things, but I can fix this. I'll pay the money back. I'll divorce Vincent. I'll make it right. You'll divorce me? Vincent's laugh was harsh. Charlene, I'm already filing. My lawyer's been working on it since I got here. You'll be lucky if I let you see the kids again. You can't take my children away. They're my children too. And unlike you, I've only been lying to them for 3 days since I found out about this. You've been lying to them their entire lives. Charlene turned to Mitchell, desperate. Please. Mitchell, you understand me better than anyone. You know I'm not a bad person. You're exactly a bad person, Mitchell said quietly. You stole identities, committed fraud, broke federal laws, and betrayed everyone who loved you. You gave away 1 daughter and lied to 4 other children about who you are. You married 2 men and lied to both of us. You're not a good person who made mistakes. You're a con artist who got too comfortable. Charlene's face hardened. Fine. You want to call the FBI? Call them. I'll lawyer up, plead out, probably get probation for the credit card stuff. The identity fraud charges are 20 years old. Statute of limitations might protect me. And bigamy? Prove I knowingly committed it. I'll say I thought the first marriage wasn't legal, or that Vincent and I were separated. I've been playing this game a long time, Mitchell. Longer than you've known me. I know, Mitchell said. That's why I made sure to build an airtight case. He nodded to Neil, who opened his laptop. FBI has been monitoring your communications for 2 weeks, Charlene. Every text, every email, every call. You contacted your document forger friend, Todd Kirk, 3 days ago to discuss creating a new identity just in case. That's conspiracy to commit fraud. You also used Mitchell's credit card to buy plane tickets to Singapore, a country with no extradition treaty, under a fake name. That's wire fraud and identity theft. Charlene's face went pale. And the credit card scams. Neil continued. FBI traced them back to IP addresses at your house, both houses. You've been running them from Mitchell's computer and from Vincent's home office in Dubai. They've got warrants ready for both locations. The statute of limitations on the Texas identity fraud case. Mitchell added. Doesn't matter. You've been actively using those stolen identities. Found the storage unit in Oklahoma, Charlene. Credit cards, driver's licenses, social security cards, 12 different identities, all still active. You're looking at 20 years minimum. Charlene sank back into her chair. For a moment, no one spoke. Then someone knocked on the door. Chapter 8, The Fall. Agents May and Devine entered from the garage, badges displayed. Iris Devine was a sharp-eyed woman in her 40s, and she looked at Charlene with professional detachment. Charlene Cameron Roberson Callahan, she said, you're under arrest for identity fraud, wire fraud, credit card fraud, and conspiracy to commit fraud. As they read her rights, Charlene looked at Mitchell one last time. I really did love you, she said. No, Mitchell replied. You loved the idea of me. The safe, boring engineer who wouldn't ask questions. You never knew the real me, because you never wanted to. You wanted a prop for your second life. The agents let her out. Through the window, Mitchell watched her being placed in an unmarked car. 15 years, gone in handcuffs. Vincent stood beside him. Thank you, he said quietly. For what? For being smarter than I was. I never questioned her trips. I trusted her completely. So did I, Mitchell said. That's how people like her operate. They find people who want to trust, who want to believe in love and commitment. Alexandra joined them at the window. What happens now? For Charlene? Federal trial, probably a plea deal. She'll do time. Neil had followed them over. For you guys? That's up to you. Vincent turned to Alexandra. You're my children's sister. Half-sister. They should know you. If you want to meet them. Alexandra's eyes welled up. I'd like that. Come to Dubai when you're ready. I'll tell them the truth, all of it. They deserve that. She nodded, unable to speak. Vincent extended his hand to Mitchell. You should come too, if you want. The kids should meet the man who stopped this before it went further. Mitchell shook his hand. Maybe someday. Right now, I need to rebuild my life. After they left, Mitchell sat alone in his living room. The house felt different, emptier, but also cleaner. Like a wound that had been lanced. Neil sat across from him. You okay? No. But I will be. What are you going to do? Mitchell thought about it. Sell the house. Too many ghosts. Maybe travel for a while. I've got some savings, the money she didn't take. Maybe I'll visit those places I always wanted to see, but she didn't. You're stronger than she thought, Neil observed. I'm stronger than I thought, Mitchell corrected. I spent 15 years being comfortable, being predictable. Maybe it's time to be someone else for a while. Someone who asks questions. Someone who doesn't settle. Engineer turned detective? Mitchell smiled faintly. Something like that. His phone buzzed. A text from Shane. Dude, saw the news. FBI arrested Charlene? What happened? Mitchell typed back. Long story. I'll explain over beers. Lots of beers. The next few weeks were a blur. The story broke in the local news. Denver woman arrested in multi-state fraud scheme. Reporters called. Mitchell ignored them. He hired a lawyer, filed for an annulment, and started selling off his shared life with Charlene. She took a plea deal, 8 years in federal prison. Her lawyer argued she was a victim of mental illness, a serial liar who couldn't help herself. The judge wasn't sympathetic. 8 years. Vincent divorced her immediately. The Dubai courts were even less forgiving of bigamy. She lost custody of all 4 children. Alexandra visited Mitchell once before she flew to Dubai. I wanted to thank you, she said, for giving me answers, for giving me a family. You deserve the truth, Mitchell said. Everyone did. What she did to you taught me something, Mitchell interrupted. I spent my whole life building structures, analyzing systems, making sure everything was safe and stable. I forgot to apply that same scrutiny to my personal life. I trusted when I should have verified. I settled for comfortable when I should have demanded authentic. So what now? Mitchell gestured around his empty house. Now I start over. Build something new. Something real. Chapter 9. The Architect. 6 months later, Mitchell stood in a small apartment in Portland. Through the window, he could see the Willamette River and the bridges he'd always admired. Engineering marvels that had stood for decades. His phone rang. Vincent. Mitchell, hello. How's Portland? Good. Starting a new job next week. Working on bridge restoration projects. How are the kids? Adjusting. Daniel took it hardest. He's the oldest, remembers his mother most. The girls are angry but coping. Alexandra has been wonderful with them. She moved to Dubai temporarily, helping them through therapy. That's good. Mitchell, I wanted you to know, Charlene tried to contact Daniel from prison. Wrote him a letter saying she was sorry, that she did it all for love, that she never meant to hurt anyone. Did he read it? He read it. Then he wrote back one sentence. You didn't love us enough to tell us the truth. He won't be writing again. Mitchell felt a complicated mix of satisfaction and sadness. They're strong kids. Because of me. Finally, Vincent paused. Listen, I know this is strange, but I wanted to thank you again. You could have just divorced her, exposed her, walked away. Instead, you made sure she faced real consequences. You gave my kids and Alexandra the truth. That took courage. I'm an engineer, Mitchell said. When I find a structural flaw, I don't patch it over. I tear it down and rebuild it correctly. Is that what you're doing? Rebuilding. Yeah, day by day. After hanging up, Mitchell looked at the calendar. October 15th would have been his 16th anniversary with Charlene. Instead, he was alone in a new city, starting over at 47. But he wasn't sad. He was free. His doorbell rang. Shane stood there with a 6-pack of beer and a sheepish grin. Heard you needed a wingman. Thought I'd fly up, help you explore Portland's finest establishments. You drove 3 hours to drink beer with me? I introduced you to a con artist who ruined your life. It's the least I can do. Shane pushed past him into the apartment. Besides, I know you. You're not going to meet anyone hiding in here, working on bridge plans. I'm not ready. You're absolutely ready. You've been ready for months. You just needed permission. Shane popped 2 beers, handed one over. So here's your permission. Stop being the boring engineer. Be the guy who's smart, badass, survived betrayal, and came out stronger. Women dig that. Mitchell laughed, really laughed, for the first time in months. You're an idiot. Yeah, but I'm your idiot. Come on. Let's go find you someone who doesn't have secret families. The bar is literally on the floor. Then we'll start there and work our way up. They left the apartment together, and as Mitchell locked the door behind him, he felt something shift inside. The anger was still there, probably always would be, but it was manageable now, contained. He'd taken chaos and destruction and rebuilt order from it. That's what engineers did. 3 months later, Mitchell met Ginger Fisher at a coffee shop. She was a marine biologist, funny and genuine, with no secret families and a refreshing bluntness about her past mistakes. On their 3rd date, she asked him point blank, "So what's your damage?" "Everyone our age has some." Mitchell told her everything. The whole story. She listened quietly, ordered another beer, and finally said, "Wow, that's a lot. Too much. No. I'm glad you got out. I'm glad you didn't let her make you bitter." "Who says I'm not bitter? You're here, aren't you? On a date, trying again. Bitter people don't try again." She was right. He was trying again. Not trying to recreate what he'd lost, that had been built on lies anyway, but trying to build something new. Something honest. A year after Charlene's arrest, Mitchell received a letter. He almost threw it away unread, but curiosity won. "Mitchell, I know you won't believe me, but I am sorry. Not for getting caught, for what I did. You deserve better. Vincent deserved better. My kids deserve better. The therapist here says I'm a compulsive liar, that I create elaborate fantasies because I can't handle reality. Maybe she's right. But here's one truth. You were the best thing in my American life. You were kind and patient and good. I loved you as much as someone like me can love anyone. I don't expect forgiveness. I just wanted you to know that somewhere in all the lies, there were real feelings. For whatever that's worth." Charlene. Mitchell read it twice, then tucked it in a drawer. Not to treasure it or revisit it, but because it felt like an ending. The final period on a long, painful sentence. He never wrote back. 2 years after the arrest, Daniel Roberson called him out of the blue. "Mr. Callahan? This is Daniel. Charlene's my mom's, her son. I know who you are, Daniel. How are you?" "Okay. Better. I'm graduating university next month. I wanted to invite you. You and Alexandra. Dad's coming, obviously, and my sisters. I just thought, you're part of this story too. You helped end it before it got worse." "I'd be honored," Mitchell said. The graduation was in London. The whole family gathered, Vincent and his kids, Alexandra. Even Shane flew over as Mitchell's +1. They had dinner together, this strange patchwork family born from betrayal. "What's the weirdest part?" Shane asked Mitchell quietly. Mitchell watched Daniel laugh at something his sister said, watched Alexandra fit seamlessly into the group, watched Vincent relax for the first time in years. "That something good came out of it," Mitchell said. "Alexandra found her family. Vincent's closer to his kids than ever. Daniel's going to be okay. They're all going to be okay. And you?" Mitchell thought about Ginger, waiting back in Portland. About his new job, his new apartment, his new life built on truth instead of comfortable lies. "I'm already okay," he said. "More than okay." The evening wound down. Mitchell shook Vincent's hand one final time. "Take care of them." "I will." "And Mitchell? Thank you. For everything." Mitchell flew back to Portland, back to Ginger, back to his real life. The one he'd built himself, carefully and deliberately, like the engineer he was. Sometimes at night, he thought about Charlene in federal prison, 6 years left on her sentence. He wondered if she understood what she'd lost. He wondered if she'd ever really loved anyone, or if it had all been performance, lies stacked on lies until she'd forgotten where the truth ended. But mostly, he didn't think about her at all. He thought about the future, bridges to restore, projects to complete, a relationship built on honesty instead of fantasy. He thought about the lesson he'd learned the hard way, that structures built on faulty foundations always collapse eventually. The only question was whether you'd be buried in the rubble, or whether you'd be smart enough to tear it down yourself and start fresh. Mitchell had chosen to start fresh. And this time, he was building something that would last.
Asterisk after listening to today's story, Perhaps it has raised some new questions in your mind, or maybe it has brought back some old memories. Every day on Reddit, new experiences and moments create fresh stories, and they connect all of us. Everyone has their own unique journey in life, and we all try to understand the world in our own way. These kinds of moments remind us that we are all human, sometimes happy, sometimes sad, and always learning something new. If you enjoyed this story, feel free to share it with your friends. Your thoughts and feedback are always valuable to us, as they motivate us to create even better content. Every story has its own unique angle, and our goal is to understand everyone's perspective and make our content diverse and relatable. Stories like these help us realize that life's journey is different for everyone, and by hearing other stories, we learn something new. You can also share your own stories with us. Your experiences are valuable to us as well, and if you enjoyed this video, please leave your feedback. We aim to create content that brightens your mind and gives you new ideas every time. If you've already seen this video before, your feedback is still important. With every piece of feedback, we can improve our content and bring a new perspective to our viewers. Today, what we saw was just a small part of the many stories shared on Reddit and across the world. It's a reminder of how we all try to understand life by sharing our experiences with each other. This video was only an example of how we try to connect with others through storytelling, learning about different sides of life. We hope to continue sharing such stories that help us all learn and grow together. Thank you for your time, and don't forget to keep an eye out for more stories coming soon. If you haven't already, please like and follow for more amazing content. Your support keeps us going, and we will strive to bring you more thought-provoking and heartwarming stories. Until next time, take care and stay curious. **.